So, good afternoon everyone and welcome to the X podcast. This is an X special podcast for this month which is now, anong month ba ngayon, Sen?
Parang March ngayon eh.
So, anong month ang meron sa March?
Women's Month!
Yan, and because of that, this is X Podcast, kababaihan sa kimika, igniting the stories of women in chemistry.
Good day, we are gonna be the host, Pen Desire Pen. Annyeonghaseyo, it's me, Seth, from 1BS Chem MSD.
And I am Eddie, your number one buddy at kahit stress na, hindi mapapategi from 1BS Chemistry. So, now that we have introduced ourselves, we'd like now to know more about our esteemed guests for today. So, who would first like to start to introduce themselves?
Parang ready na si Doc Ana eh.
Yes!
So, Doc Ana, please introduce yourself po.
Hi, I'm Ana Esteban. I'm a faculty member of the Department of Chemistry. So I'm a chemist by profession and currently also focusing on education, training PSL students, and also research as a chemist.
Okay. I guess I'm next. Hi. I'm Nina Rojas and also a faculty member here at the chemistry department. And I started chemistry in this room as way back in with the chemistry camp. And I've been in Ateneo on and off ever since then.
Ako, I'm Giselle also from the department, a faculty member for the last 10 years na I'm here with the Ateneo. And other than that, I also have an industry affiliation, which is PIPA, where we do research and development. So, plus other tasks that we'll find out later. that I do.
So, thank you to our dear guests for introducing themselves. We invited them in hopes that they would be able to provide a meaningful contribution to this ongoing discourse and inspire more women within and beyond the Ateneo community to take a step toward the science career of their dreams. So, I believe we can now start with our discussion. Sen, do you have anything you first want to ask?
So, we can first discuss how you chose chemistry as a path. Like, what sparked your interest in chemistry? And what made you pursue the field of chemistry? So, si Doc Nina naman.
Yeah, so what got me into chemistry was Camp of Ateneo. We were the first batch of Camp Campers under Father William Schmidt SJ, and he invited high school students to come and do chemistry for one summer. And it was chemistry hands-on. We made things. I remember getting my hands red from making methyl orange or methyl red. I can't remember now. Making crystals, doing all kinds of things. And so that got me into chemistry. And out of that group, several of us ended up taking chemistry. And also one thing that I liked about chemistry was we had this analytical lab where you could, where you were given an unknown and it just looked like a watery substance. And if you did chemistry, you could find out what was inside. And so I thought that was interesting that you could find out things on your own by working in the laboratory. So I guess that started the journey of decades in chemistry.
So, ano po, Doc Jess, how about you? What got you into chemistry?
Actually, mine is more accidental. Parang ganun. Kasi, although I would trace it back to high school, na I recall just one exam talaga na parang, I got high somehow. I got high. My father said something that sort of, sa akin, like more, how can you, siguro your imagination is so parang creative, kasi how can you understand something we cannot see? Kasi for him, he thinks, parang chemistry is get yan, diba? So yeah, in a way, baka nga, I have a way of imagining how molecules things work at molecular level. So that's the start. But even then, towards college, I was more leaning towards med talaga. But I think it's not a unique story that somehow ayaw ko na. So, ayaw ko na. So, again, sorry, mas mahabang story. Pero yun nga, ayaw ko na, so I had to choose something else. And at the same time, in the program where I was part of, parang may pressure kasi parang, base sponsor, after graduation, I graduated okay naman. I mean, academically, something. Anyway, so they wanted to sponsor our chem board's review. So it's parang pilit. Sige, you have to take the boards to sponsor your review. So, okay, so it's more, I have to take it and I have to pass it. So, then pressure. So, yes, eventually I passed it. So, but somehow, dun na. That parang sort of changed the trajectory of my career, and from there on, there's not a words. Yeah.
I think a lot of us can relate to that, knowing that I think for my batch, a lot of us are taking Cameron as pre-med. I actually am also taking Cameron as pre-med. Yeah, but like, I can feel the struggle na if it's already this hard, parang okay na to. Tapos na ako. Yeah. How about you, Doc Anna?
Nung high school ako, I'm very fond of crime shows. Yes, I grew up with MacGyver. I don't know. Because of my lolo, who is a chem person. So, siguro into science na, the crime shows and all. So, I took chem. And also, yung high school chemistry teacher ko was very good. So, sabi ko, okay, madali na. Kasi, she's very good. So, I really appreciated chem during high school. Kasi gusto ko nga yung CSI. Pero, eventually, I tried na doing forensics na after graduation. But even during the OTP nung chems, may nagre-recruit from the PNP. But that time, may height requirement. Di ako pumunta. That time, then they revised the guideline after, years after that.
Because you'll be an officer.
Yes. Kasi if you're a licensed chemist, pag pumasok ka sa ano ka na, first lieutenant, second lieutenant.
Yeah.
So that's, mataas na rank ko siya.
Oh my gosh, so you could have gone through the whole training, pati mga barel-barel at mga...
Yun yung gusto ko. Yan, yung gusto ko. Pero yan, but then, iba yung plano.
Okay, na iba yung plano.
That's how I started.
Yeah, I think the first female police general was a chemist. And is a chemist. So, it was one way to really top, we call it, police woman. Hindi na naalala yung Angie Dickinson. Police woman. Old shows, old TV shows.
So speaking of professions, since we got to the topic of like forensics, and you mentioned po like yung you mentioned po
Father Schmidt.
yung sa forensics po.
At the forensic CSI.
Yes po. Yung
Doc Anna. She wasn't in forensics, but she was a female cop. Yeah.
So sino po yung mga who do you consider like role models po in science, and how do they influence you po in your work and studies before?
Okay. Well, Father Schmidt, of course, but a closer was Dr. Koyen, who has since expanded into JD Song and now GBC in leadership positions. So she was my advisor, and by the time, I was coming back to teach. She was by the time we graduated, she was already the department chair. So we were working on biodegradable polymers at that time. We were trying to make them. My thesis was not very good, so it didn't work. So definitely she's a role model, just like Father Schmidt, Dr. Dayret, role model. But one thing I really appreciate about chemistry in the Philippines is that there were a lot of women in Border View. Dr. Guevara of UST was our interviewer. There were many women in chemistry and in science. I think our DOSC secretary was also a woman at that time. So I've had a lot of mentors in chemistry, and then later on, if you could address a question, you can get into med school the back way. And I was a founding faculty member of ASFH, Ateneo School of Medicine and Public Health, as a chemist teaching biochemistry. So I've been fortunate also to have the late Dr. Alfredo Benzon as a mentor as well. But there were a lot of women. And so I think at the time that I left for graduate school, Ateneo, UST, UP, and I think Diliman, and I think even PLD had women chairs in Chem. So when I went to graduate school, it was a shock that I went into a department where there was only one woman professor, and she was new. And I said, huh? I thought the US was more advanced. So anyway, we've had a strong presence in chemistry for generations now.
How about you, Anna? Do you have specific role models?
My bachelor's professor, Dr. Fortunato Sevilla, Doc Sev. So, parang kaano niya si Doc Lady. Hindi sure. So, he's a PChem, analytical professor, and he taught Chem kasi in Filipino. So, and he has this, I think he's pushing for chemistry to be taught in Filipino language. So that's one of his Dr. Sevilla. And that's what is my bachelor's. But when I came into Ateneo, I was very fortunate because the senior faculty, I look up to them, including Dr. Rojas. They are very good examples to us. They're very ethic. Of course, yung intelligence, no question na yan. Nandiyan na yan. But I always say those na I'm very fortunate to look up to them. Kasi even now, kahit their post-retirement, Dr. David, Dr. Pabicol, their work ethic never changed. Yung pa rin. Sabi ko naman, yan, hindi ba ito? Kasi sila pa rin, they always work hard, they always take their best. So I think it's also the discipline as a chemist. I think that may discipline yung chemistry. That's why I think they are also good leaders. Chemists are good.
How about you, Ron?
So, it's parang same na ba, you notice, it's not parang the very famous people that we look up to as heroes. It's really those who influence us very strongly. So, same din sa akin. Depende rin siya on which season I'm in. So, when I was a student, I could name a few professors that really influenced me. And then, now that I'm in the professional field, same with Doc Anna, those who, I just look sa mga tao na nauna sa akin. And then they're doing they did what I'm doing now. So, like Dr. Rojas, and then also in the teaching profession, and then also sa another si Ma'am Delman, she's not here, but I wanted her to come also, but she's also like a role model because she did pala what I'm trying to do now, which is balancing motherhood and being in science. So yun. So yung mga heroes namin is yung mga nauna sa amin. So yun yung aking masasabi, yung mga influence sa amin.
In relation to that, kasi most of us also went into chemistry, like Doc Anna in high school with our all teachers that they made chemistry enjoyable and fun more than just a subject that we had to study because it was in the curriculum. And since all of you said that all your mentors or teachers were your all heroes, someone you look up to, and now you guys are some of the people that the next generation or our generation look up to. Would you say that is something that motivates you to continue teaching in Ateneo or even just in the field of teaching at all? And if there's any value you would like to share with us as your current students, what would it be? So, Doc, would you like to start?
For me, I think siguro if I assess the things that I've been through, it's very short lang pa lang naman the experiences ko. But teaching has been my longest job so far, no? I've had a few jobs in and out, pero this has been my longest. So I realized, this is really what I need to do. And then, it's becoming more challenging. My colleagues might probably agree with me that we are competing with so many other things that influence our students. It's not just us, di ba? Like before, yung bata, titingin lang sa teacher. Ngayon, may iba na silang maraming influences. So, we only have a very short time, kumbaga contact time with you, and that is during our lecture classes and even during our lab classes. So, that's the only time that we have. So, yes, I may not directly tell you what to do, but I hope, I guess it's all of our aspiration as educators that you would see how we are and then we're modeling to you. And then siguro in terms of our professionalism, our work ethic, you cannot dictate to you na dapat nandito ka on this time, ganyan. Parang dapat makita nyo siya na ginagawa namin and then you would see na ito yung tamang ugali bilang isang professional. Parang ganun. That's what I'm trying to relate to you na that it's more, we want to model, not really teach, just teach. It's more modeling. I mean, the hope na will be influencing you in that way. Kasi iksila ng time na meron kami with you 4 years lang, hindi pa nga po. So, sana, sa liit na yun, meron kami may kakita sa inyo. Kagaya-gaya. Kung meron, sana. Meron ba? Meron ba? Hindi mo pa tayo nag-cheat. Ngayon pa lang tayo first start ng contact.
It's like a short span of time, but I believe you guys are able to make a big impact mo talaga sa buhay ng students, Because even if kayo mismo, na there was a big impact on your lives with your own mentors, I believe you guys are able to do that too. So how about you, Esteban?
We hope that we can inspire you because there are, as Dr. said, there are many influences and you can learn so many things on your own already. So what we hope we are able to share with you is we're able to share with you this passion that we have, and then also how to do things. Because one of the things that on TV, etc., that you seem to see the results na lang, walang process, di ba? But when you're in school, that's when you realize na one scene in CSI is really parang walang sample prep, walang sampling,
Organization.
bilang result na lang. You see that there's really a lot of hard work involved, especially in the lab. And so by walking together through that journey until you get to the point that you're good at it already and you're good at what you do, then I hope that gives you the confidence to be able to go on with the rest of your careers. Feeling that, yes, you know how to do things because you've done it with us, you've learned how to do it well, and you can explore on your own other things that you can choose to do. The other thing is that we're together, and one of the things that's nice about being in chemistry is we have a community over here. I hope you realize it. You realize it takes as sort of this home community for students. And that kind of support system, funding system, will extend into your professional lives because sila Dr. Fortune, Dr. David, etc. That professional community of Filipino chemists has its roots in just people working together and hanging out together, doing and thinking chemistry, which is what we're all doing now. Also.
So, about you, Doc.
So, I think same with Dr. Nina and Dr. Judy. I think we're still conscious and we're still trying, and other departments still trying to put an effort to make you feel na may community and that we're creating this space na we're really supporting you. Siguro ngayon na ewan ko, mas mahirap lang express because iba na rin, iba nga per generation ng student. So, But yun nga kami, we're trying our best to make you feel na kung ano rin yung naramdaman namin sa mga yung mga heroes namin. So it's like us paying forward all na receive namin. At the same time, lahat ng siguro yung mga hindi for us na ina-assess namin na hindi okay that time, we're also trying to correct those sa ano. So yun, it's difficult. It's a process also for us and it changes kasi I think every year because the profile of students nag-change. Pero yun, we also make adjustment for that. So I hope na ano namin na really namin sa inyo.
So going back to dun sa na-mention ni Doc Jiz, na you, teaching has been your longest period of work po in chemistry. But do you have other experience po in working in different parts, like within the industry po? And as a woman in the field of chemistry, what specific moment po in your career would you say is the most meaningful, and can you share po how this helped your purpose in the field as a woman?
Sige. So, parang brief history lang. Sabi ko. So, even immediately before joining Ateneo, I was in the graduate school. Grad studies muna ako. Then before that, I was in the industry, testing lab. So, something similar to what Tita does, only it's a different company. I was there for 5 years. So, at that time, I was doing just analytical work. Just a bit routinary. So, parang I wanted to try something else. So yun, so I tried grad school. I tried I really just tried. Sabi nung boss ko, why don't you try this scholarship? Sabi, sige na, try lang. So I really just tried, and then I got it. And then so, again, sabi ko parang accidental na hinihila ako dito. So, tinapos na siya. So yun parang big history ko. I actually before podcasting that a very short time working for food manufacturing companies, chocolates, making chocolates, yes. But at that time I'm so young, so parang hindi pa ako ready for the outside world kasi very sheltered din ako nun. So anyway, so madami nga, and then sabi ko nga itong mukhang teaching yung pinaka nakakita ako na ito yung gusto ko. And then, the next question, although a little different naman, you were asking for that moment that I felt very fulfilled. Ano ba? Actually, it's a very personal moment, no? It's when, di ba, I went to grad school, and it was a very steep, climb to get a degree, especially for the doctorate. So, I could remember very clear until now na parang pag na-recall ko yun, I really feel parang humble is that one moment that my supervising professor addressed me as doctor. I mean, let me clarify first sa degree, kasi parang it was a hard climb to get to the degree, and so it was trying to really prove something. I mean, again, it doesn't have to be like doctor para maging fulfillment. It's a personal journey for me. Kasi parang it was that moment that finally parang I felt na he acknowledged my hard work, and he parang nirecognize na niya that nirecognize niya yung effort and nirecognize niya, and parang he gave me the confidence to na kaya mo na to. Kasi he already addressed me as the doctor. But again, it doesn't have to be Dr. Black for you to feel fulfilled. It's just that for me, the very personal fulfillment na I felt na natawid ko yung napakataas na bundok. And what of course, he didn't stop there, you know. Kasi now that he entrusted me with that degree, I parang, it's more of giving back na ngayon. So ngayon na binigyan ka ng degree, pinagkatiwalaan ka na kaya mo. So, pagpatuloy mo. So yun yung ginagawa ko ngayon sa
How about you, Doc Anna? Do you have any specific moments where you felt fulfilled for?
si Doc din sa graduation. Kasi when we graduate, same country kami, di ba? Ang tagal ko nakabaw. Doon sa Dean. So it was very symbolic. I think that's very, yun nga, ang hirap kasi. So, bago na ako mag-alala. Yan. So, I think that's one. And also, yung siguro, in terms of research, kahit maliliit lang na deliverables or achievement in terms of the research project, or may fulfill naman. Kasi mahirap eh. It's really difficult to obtain results na magustuhan ng panel or ng funding agency. So even if they're small, I'm already happy with that. And then, sa teaching, the fulfillment is great. Kasi, right, especially with, I think with students in Ateneo, even if yung nag-teach ako 10 years ago, Ateneans are very expressive already. So, nag-express sila na appreciation. So with that, I can sense, okay, maybe I'm doing something right. So, yun yung mga little nuggets ng fulfillment. I appreciate those things.
How about for you, Doc?
Alright, just like sabi nga ni Doc Anna here, that marami. It's usually when you see your students doing well, exciting yun pag nakapag-graduate. I don't have a very good record. I have to admit it's been a long struggle for many of the PhD students in our group, so I feel a little bit guilty. Pero circumstances, I think a lot of graduate students have to juggle their family lives with their working lives, and then their academic life. So it's a struggle for them, and being able to walk with them through that struggle and try to help them. So pag natapos sila or na-publish sila, oh! It's a big celebration already, especially the publication part na parang, in some cases it takes 9 months parang you can make a baby. Yan. Parang ang hirap mga anak, ang hirap din magpa-publish. So you just try to celebrate, whether it's these externally, what we call spiritual occasions, or the smaller wins, like if you have a student who's been struggling, who finally does well, yay! There are big wins and small wins, but they are all wins. Okay, things that we celebrate.
So ayun nga, Eddie, small wins or big wins, they're all just as important in the field of chemistry.
So it's very real na like, when tinawag ko na Doc is Doc, like, parang, oh my God, I'm there, andito na ako. And then kay Doc na gets yung, if na-publish na yung paper, and parang like, when we were in grade 12 na, pina-hardbound na namin yung research namin. Graduate na ako, tapos na ako ng research. And then kay Doc Ana na, ako rin kasi mabawang talaga yan. So like, sa mga test mo, Doc Ana, if may makikita akong tama solution, tawa na ako. So, seeing that you guys have been entrusted with this parang authority na in chemistry, how would you relate chemistry in the real world, in the real life problems? Like, for example, yung ongoing na pagtaas ng oil prices because of the war that's happening. So like, how can you relate chemistry?
Parang maybe will answer in 2 levels. No? One of the things that Dr. Tuyuken used to tell us is, if you're a chemist, dapat magaling kang manager. Kasi when you do lab, you have to manage so many different things, resources to get your product. And then at the end, you have to check if your product is correct. You have to analyze, ito ba talaga yung na-synthesize ko, ano yung yield ko, pure ba siya, etc. So it kind of builds a certain organizational skill that you can translate in other areas of everyday life, whether it's pag-Lim-Co or just planning other projects. So that's one level. And then on the other thing, parang biglang excited ako dito. I think it's a challenge for us in our profession that we are part of this, I guess, historical progress or historical development of technology, that a lot of our chemistry that we have learned is built on an industrial revolution that's been fueled by petroleum. So many of the organic chem, for example, that we know is petrochem based, right? And we're transitioning to more sustainable materials. We're trying to look at what do you call this, greener chemistry, looking at alternative energy, looking at alternative feedstocks like coconut oil based chemicals, moving from petrochem, for example, to cocoa chem, or bio-based, which is maybe closer to my heart, using enzymes, for example, for various technologies. So we're right at the heart of it, and maybe if we're good at it, we will be able to help build an economy that's not dependent on petroleum, na kahit anong mangyari in the petroleum world, we will be able to survive and make use of the resources that we have. And the kinds of thesis projects that people have in this department are certainly moving in that direction.
Ay, nakaswag.
Yun na din.
Naturo kasi kayo
So what Doc Nina said now, I agree what Doc Nina said. So in the context naman in the Philippines, like in the education of chemistry, seeing as I think recently DepEd is pursuing a lot of changes sa matatag curriculum, especially with I think they're removing more of the humanities subjects ata. Pero even if they're just doing this humanities subject, what do you think is the current state of the Philippine science or laboratory education in general? Like, is there anything holding us back, or are there any efforts in the present that you think is pushing forward for the improvement of this education?
Tatanong natin din.
Going sa EDCOM
report yeah.
The EDCOM report of DepEd na-trace naman nila yung root ng bakit behind the Philippines. So, medyo malaki tayo din sa root. Tayo na yung sumasalit. It's sa nutrition siya. Nutrition yung cause.
Yes.
Number one cause of is nutrition. Malnourished yung mga bata, that's why stunted sila, and all. Yun yung last. And the mismatch, second is the mismatch of the expertise. So if they the teachers will teach them, pero ang major nila sa college is PE or math, so yung ganun. So I think it already has been identified by the EDCOM, and there's this EDCOM 2 by the DepEd under Secretary Amara. So, but for the tertiary level, I think may effort naman. Pero yun nga, ang reflection ko dun, personal reflection ko dun is that we're trying our best dito sa university level. Pero malalim kasi yung malalim and the doctor, that person, yung speaker, ano siya sa atin during one of the days. 20 years ata yung habulin natin. Nag-pandemic pa kasi. Pero on our side, sa university, na-address natin yan. Hindi natin controlable.
Which reminds me, Father Danielle, the former president of Ateneo, has been part of ACE. I mean, he used to have ACE for that. And I remember noong unang panahon, when I first joined the department, we were doing teacher training. And then now you can see ACE has moved into nutrition because the issue is, okay, better teachers would help, but what's more fundamental needs to be addressed first. So, parang teaching them chemistry is later on in the day. Let's feed the kids first. Teaching them science is going to be later in the day. It's just making sure that they can, that their health is okay, that they can pay attention, that they can come to class, that they can think and speak before we start going to particular focus areas. Mahirap ito yan.
So with that, let's go back to the main topic of the podcast. So let's talk about your experiences as a woman in chemistry. Are there like difficulties that you encountered related to your gender in your academic or professional journey? I love Anne.
Well, fortunately, I never experienced being discriminated based on hindi naman. In fact, because of the awareness na be fair with and equal rights may mga babae. Wala. I mean, it wasn't a struggle between sexes. I don't think wala ang struggle between. I don't recall any experience. Again, not really the context of because of discrimination or inequality. We're lucky that in our society, equal chances are given to both. Siguro yung yung context lang ng what would be, kasi lahat naman, whether lalaki or babae, they have to do trade-offs. Pero trade-offs, they have to make choices. Lahat naman lahat. Doesn't have to be particularly babae lang. Siguro yung may iba lang is what kind of trade-offs I have to do. So, yun, like in my situation, kasi bilang yung babae, hindi nga, I was a mother. So, yun yung parang pinaka-masasabi kong challenge. Although, it's not really gender-based naman na parang it's I just have to make choices, that will be different from what we may make or other people may make just because of my role as, not just as a chemist, but also other things that a woman who has needed, mother. So yun yun na naman yung, siguro I don't say it's a challenge, parang lang, kinukwento ko lang yung situation na sometimes you have to make choices in that trade-offs, like probably for other people, the rate ng progress in terms of the career will be faster, maybe for others, may content more. So yun lang yun naman yung nag-recognize ko na challenge. Although hindi naman siya talaga, hindi siya like, it will not make you less of a chemist. You have to do this now. Parang, yun lang yung context na.
I think the Philippines we're a lot luckier that we've had women in science and women in chemistry and women in academic life for a long time, and we've had a lot of role models. But I think in certain countries, parang generation ko na lang yung nag-umpisa. In certain countries, if you look at older people, let's say the generation of Dr. David or Dr. Tu, parang lahat sila lalaki. Sabi ko nga, when I was a grad student, parang bakit isa lang yung babae professor dito sa home department ng Chem in the US. So I think we're in a good situation in the Philippines that it's much more open in terms of gender, in terms of opportunities that are.
Doc Nina, I'm curious, like, since you said that when you went to your grad Nana, there was only one female professor. And then compared to the Philippines, there are a lot of female professors or teachers in the field of science in general. Why do you think that recognizing the women in STEM fields or in science or in chemistry is important? Like, was there a big difference between how the environment was there and here in the Philippines?
I'm not really sure why. But perhaps in the Philippines, education is maybe seen as a woman's role also, and so And I think I shared with you the article that chemistry is sort of also considered maybe historical in women's business. I think there are certain opportunities that we've had in the Philippines for women that were not quite available elsewhere. I think the chief value, this is in medicine, but my pediatrician, national scientist, Dr. Rafael Del Mundo, went into Harvard and ended up being the first med student there was female because they didn't know she was a woman. And she was sent there during the what they call the American colonial period in the Philippines, I think. So we've had women in science and women in the professions for a long time already. One of my grand aunts was a physician, my grandmother was a chemist. So I think we should be grateful for this long history of women being professionals in science and medicine. And having that means it opens a lot of opportunities. But I think Doc Luz mentioned something. And perhaps it's because in the Philippines, historically, may yaya. And so we owe a lot of the success of women in science because of the opportunities offered by having help at home. Okay? And so we should also acknowledge that all the yayas who have made science possible indirectly over these generations.
So ayun, sobrang important talaga when we talk about these things. Especially, in this time na so very sensitive talaga our Filipinos when it comes to topics like these. So, let's go back to your studies and sa profession mo. Are there any researches that you did or currently doing that you would like to share? I don't know.
Since BS to MS to PhD, I dealt with electrochem. So it's really my field, and then the application is stable. So I did electrocatalytic or fuel cell and then solar cell, but the last one is water steaming. So those things, energy generation, those things I was trained for. And in addition to that, I also do coordination chemistry, synthesizing the whole compounds. But right now, in order to adapt it to the Philippine context, I still use those skills and then apply it like electrochem for metal recovery metal oxide, and then to use it for a circular economy. Parang learning lang, iba about the battery. Also, currently I am looking at electrochemical degradation of compounds, of pollutants, so that I can still apply my electrochem. Tapos kung ano yung context ng business. Yun nga kasi, the challenge kasi if we took our PhD or our grad school abroad, so medyo iba yung context minsan doon sa Pilipinas. So I have to adjust a bit. I have to really adjust and make it appropriate kung ano yung hinihingi ng family. So right now, I'm doing still electrochem and making use of that skill for useful applications.
How about you? What are you currently working on?
Okay, so what we've been interested has been maybe trying to find out how medicinal plants work. Okay, maybe that's one. We're currently using chem and bioinformatics based approaches on dry lab. It's something that we've been doing since the pandemic, but I've been sort of interested in over the years. And using medicinal plants, let's say for degenerative diseases, kasi part of the lifestyle diseases and the what do you call this, immune-related diseases are very important, but they're also very, very difficult to study. But at the same time, because our medicinal plants are complex and made up of many different things, there is the opportunity that they might be able to modulate these processes in the body. So we're using dry lab approaches, and when we can, and we have the funding for it, we also do cell-based and a little bit more specific molecules to find out how these medicinal plants work, because we have a lot, and we know that even if you look at the history of Western medicine, like aspirin, a lot of the drugs that are eventually in market have their roots, penicillin, in natural products. So let's take advantage of the resources that we have to be able to make a difference in health and wellness.
I have 2 lines of research. For under the chem depth is more natural products, similar to what the Nina is doing. Although for me it's the in vitro, the wet lab part. And then for narrow down will be enzymes. So most of my research is really on enzymes, and whenever possible, I want applications on healthcare na like Alzheimer's disease or diabetes, and also cosmetics. That's also very famous with the students, and agricultural applications. So improving the quality of crops or finding purpose for waste, agricultural waste. That's one side that I do, and then the other side of my research, the other research line I work with is under PPAC. Then naman, I do analytical work. In that institution, mostly we're dealing with emerging contaminants. So those that are my threats, future threats, not really well monitored at the moment, but we identify to be threats eventually, especially sa envi and sa quality rin ng food. So those are the things that I need.
Okay, so let's welcome another one of our guests for today, si Ma'am Dan, which is also part of the Department of Chemistry. And since we're talking about the research of Doc Ina, Doc Liz, and Doc Anna, we actually heard that you were experimenting before coming here. So is there anything you would like to share about your research?
Yeah, sure. So hi, I'm Dan. I'm a homegrown student from the chemistry department. I did both of my undergrad degrees here, my master's, and currently my PhD. I love the department so much I never left. So I have been working on research that I'd like to call enabling technologies. So I've been working on instrumentation since undergrad. In my undergrad and master thesis, I developed liquid chromatography system, so an HPLC, for education purposes. Around that time when I was an RA, I also developed a communication module from an old GCFID that already had expired OS so that it could communicate with modern laptops. And then right now, I'm currently one of the technical leads for a USC grant developing hardware so that we can equip the country to do biotechnology research, particularly this thing called the bioreactor and the fast protein liquid chromatography system. So I actually have to both develop the hardware, and then my training as a chemist kicks in when I do the wet lab tests for them. And right now, the experiment I was actually running is we're growing genetically modified E. coli bacteria so that it can grow proteins that are used in medical diagnostic applications. And we're hoping in future grants to also expand in other applications, perhaps in agriculture or in alternative food sources. But right now, we're doing proteins for medical diagnostic applications.
I think all your research works right now are very inspiring. Mamaya pag-uwi ko, mag-isip na over my thesis. And since we're talking about the present now, what if we talk about naman sa past? So Sen, what would you like to ask about the past?
So since we got inspired na po from what you guys said, let's talk about what you guys will say po to your younger selves. Like what's one thing that at the start of your career po na you would say to your younger self? Let's start naman po with
the youngest.
The youngest.
One na pala.
So, when I joined the the department, I'm actually one of the few handful students who did not come from a science high school or who did not come from a big name school. So to the point that on the very first lab that I joined in Ateneo, I had to ask our lab instructor, sir, this is a spatula. And then now to the point of the research where I am building tools for other people to do their research as well. I'd like to reassure myself in the past that you'll make it. You know, make sure you make good friends, enjoy your youth. Still, AICS has been a very great way for me to make connections, and to this day, even my atas and kuyas from HCP touch. Never forget that the networks that you build will definitely help you get through the toughest of times, but you'll be fine. So I guess that's what I wanted to say to myself. Yes.
Who wants to go?
Next youngest. Second youngest. Ay, ako na.
You guys.
Sorry, younger self. Enjoy. Masyado ako yatang 6 months when I was young grad student and young chemist. So, I think I did not enjoy that much. Hindi ako nag-balance. Work lang. And also, siguro, my defense at that time, hindi pa naman maraming internet and also, we just focus on work. So, and, yeah, so, I think I'll tell myself to just enjoy and appreciate and then be open. Kasi sometimes, of course, kung ano lang na-introduce, I will naka-focus lang ako doon. Pero sometimes you need to be open din to other parts ng so, be open and enjoy.
By Giselle. Okay, narinig niyo order. Maturity. Sa akin, I would reassure din my younger self that it will only make sense eventually. Kasi you can only see so far, diba? Tapos parang andyan yun, you have to battle so many emotions, confusion, parang pero nga, lagi naman, diba? When we look back, parang, okay, it all makes sense. So, whether maiksi ko lang or matagal, pero yun yung reassurance that it will all work well, work out together. So, kalma lang.
Yeah, I guess echoing what they said, maybe the idea that the best is yet to come. Trust the process, enjoy the process, and there will be surprises along the way. There will be challenges, pero okay lang, kaya yan. Okay, you've got as a community to share this journey with, and that helps a lot.
I think that's a lot of stuff to say to yourself. And from that, ikaw naman, Sen, what would you say to first Sen, na magkikambara?
Oh my God. Personally, I would say first sentence is, papasa ka. I had gotten the last time, and I was really scared if I would pass. But all went well naman in finals, and I did pass.
Ako naman, I think I'm going to tell my younger self na memorize the periodic tables.
Yes.
Because it's really helpful until now kahit with Doc Anna, Doc Anna, and everything. But now that we've talked about the past and the present, I think there's still remaining our future. So, since we talk about your research, is there any other field in chemistry or in science that you would like to delve deeper more, or something new that you would like to explore? No, Anna ulit.
No, in my field kasi, it's a program. So, malawak siya na rin. I just want to focus on that. Pigain lang kung ano pang pwede mong pigain. Na applicable sa Philippine setting. So, yun. I'll just try also to improve my skills kasi ano pa rin siya, malawak pa rin siya, still improve my skills. stick with my elections.
How about you, Doc?
Okay, just thinking, we've been looking a lot at degenerative diseases kasi mahirap mag-infectious disease. I don't want it on my conscience na may magkasakit akong thesis student dahil naging infectious kami. No. Degenerative is safe, but exciting at the same time. Maybe the final frontier is the nervous system and the brain. Since Doc Lee has some experience with that, maybe something we can get into.
Sa akin, ganun din. I mean, yun nga, malawak pa eh. So, medyo starting pa lang din ako. So, I still have a long way to go in terms of this research line that I'm working on. So, still with enzymes, but, and agri or food safety. So, yun talaga close to my heart. And I think dun parang habot na ako doon. Sa akin na. Ayun, yun sa akin.
I think I'd say the same. There's so much for me to learn still. So I started thinking as classifying myself before as an analytical chemist, organic chemist because of the liquid chrome situation. But the more I do the research that I'm doing right now, I realize that I have to learn many more languages and many more types of chem if I really want to help other people build the instruments that they need to do their research. So right now, I'm dabbling into a little bit of molecular biology and biochemistry, something that I was a little insecure growing up. To the point that sometimes I tell my colleagues that, but I think that the experiments have been going all right naman. There's so much more to learn in that specific field as well. And I also now classify myself more as a generalist than any specific type of chemist. And then I also started picking up skills on electronics, programming, and whatever. So those are very important now that technology is evolving, and that I think that chemistry as a field itself also has a lot of ways to go on that direction. So I'm really excited to learn what else is there to learn. So I really can't quite say what specific thing, but I'm just excited about the thought of learning. So that's it in a nutshell.
That's very inspiring to see that there's still a lot more to discover in your own field. Na parang, even if you've reached this stage of growth in that, you can still branch out more. And that's something really inspiring, I think, for us. Na I'd say we're still at our roots and I'm still trying to grow and on. Sam?
So, ayun po, to wrap things up, what does Women's Month mean to you as a scientist and as an educator? And what is your hope for women scientists or chemists and message for these women who are aspiring to be chemists in the future? Parang si Doc Ana.
It's important for me yung Women's Month kasi sige, I'll share a bit personal. I was raised by a single parent, by a single mother. So yung talaga ng kababaihan it's an advocacy for me. So I know the strength ng babae, ng isang babae, because I saw it from my mom. She's a single-handedly raised 4 children on her own. And then being a chemist, being scientist, iba din eh. Yun nga, we are in a field na nasa education kami, we have this avenue to influence students. So we have this responsibility to be a good example. So important siya, it's parang reminder for us na ma-motivate kami to continue to be a good example, to do our best, and to improve. So, good pillars of Women's Month, appreciating women's, and also reminding and honoring those na heroes namin. Chem man or scientist man or hindi, pero sa baba. Go girl.
Go Doc
So, as Doc Ana said, there are many strong women. Some of them we know, who are close to us. And so those gifts that they have, whether in science or in other spheres of life, would be important to celebrate. And I think it's also important to acknowledge the care work that women do. Minsan hindi siya na-appreciate eh. Yung science side yung na-appreciate, but you're juggling care work, motherhood, being a wife, whatever. Those things also should be appreciated and given value, even though they're not, what do you call this? They're not immediately visible, but they're just going to be visible in terms of what happens to the rest of the family. You know, you end up raising wonderful kids or things like that. That should be an important part as well of what we celebrate about Women's Month. And we hope we inspire women and we inspire men to also participate, not just in the science or in the professional sphere, but to also participate more in family life, which has been traditionally women's roles. Because I think it works two ways, that yes, women want to participate in professional life, and we lose a lot if women did not participate in professional life. But if men did not participate in family and care work, that's also a loss for society. And I think men should also be given that opportunity to be a part of a more active part, perhaps, in the hidden ways of family life.
Exactly. So you may observe, diba, we have four women here na we represent a type of a woman, diba? So, kumbaga, may iba kaming seasons, may iba kaming roles that would represent different types of women. So, yun lang, yes, we celebrate that, and siguro parang reminder to all the, women that we represent, kung ano man yung saan lang kayo makarelate sa amin. We have a place. So, we have a place. It may not be the same place that another person will occupy, but we all have our own place. So, kung saan man tayo nilagay, let's really just do our best and be excellent. And focus on that, not reminding left and right, or just focus on where you are placed and maximize your chances.
So, I think there are two things that I want to say on the front of celebrating women this month. The first one is that we really have to be grateful to the silent support systems that have raised all the people around, the strong women who have built who we are, and the networks that really support these strong women as well. And then the second one is, I guess, an anecdote on my experience as a woman scientist. So, growing up, as an undergrad here in Ateneo, I thought that we were already at a very level, equal playing field. Kasi when I looked at the department, we've got very strong women at the helm. And then my block was also pretty balanced in terms of the number of girls and boys. So I thought that the equality issue they were saying before was a history lesson. But as I progressed in my career, I've also experienced, so I take some courses elsewhere, so not just here. And I've sat in a class where all of them are guys, I'm just a girl, and then the prof is the other woman in the room. So that's like 2 out of them. So the number of women in tech-forward fields really still need to increase in number. So even if we say that malayo na yung even if we think that marami pang kailangan gawin, malayo na rin naman yung narating in terms of equality, but I think that work still has to be had, not just by the women, but the other people that surround and support the women. So, I am grateful that even if I was in the room being the only student who's a female there, I was treated as an equal. I think that we are great in terms of society on that front. So, we have progressed by a lot already, but I think that the work shouldn't stop there. And I agree that the work should not just fall on shoulders of women, but on the greater community out there. But I think we're in a great place right now. It's great to be a woman in science right now. It's great to be a student of science right now. But yeah,
Thank you so much for all your answers. I think a lot of people, especially women, would be very inspired by that. And to close our podcast, we'd like to ask our last question. As our guest, how does our podcast title and theme, Kababaihan sa Kimika, Igniting the Stories of Women in Chemistry, speak with you? So I think we can start now with Ma'am.
I think that it's such a very timely, title. And the conversations that happened this afternoon were great as well. Ignition, igniting, often is one of the great ways to start a lot of chemical reactions, and I think that it's a great way to also inspire other people moving forward. And I think that's what happened here. So I think that's a great theme and a great title. It's also a great reminder for us that sometimes even the simplest types of reactions can lead to so many other possible things. I think that's how I take the title.
How about you, Doc?
For me, more, I just want to express my gratitude for sa AICS for giving us this platform to share our thoughts and to impart again, because as educators, a lot of our activities really to influence you. So this is one way for us to impart you our values.
Thank you. Really gratitude for the team and congratulations to the team really for bringing us together to have this conversation. Minsan hindi tayo nakakakwentong buhay kasi kulang na tayo ng time sa classroom. Wala na magandang chismis or we have to cut it short. So we're grateful that we have this opportunity to talk and to discuss these things with all of you. So thank you for that and congratulations for running this podcast.
So yun nga, I'll echo what they said. Thank you and congratulations. This, I think, sharing our experiences, I hopefully would help you and inspire you nga, yung gaya din sabi kanina na makarelate kayo kung ano man. Iba-iba ang season. So makarelate, iba-ibang position. So makarelate kayo and yung term natin ma-validate kayo. So kung ano man yun. Kasi yun nga, yung mga experience nyo siguro as a chemistry student and all, kami pagdaanan din namin yan. And it's important that you also hear it from other people, like teachers, no, and all, to know na, hindi kayo nag-isa. Normal yan, ipindan yan. So thank you for providing this.
Yeah, so dahil dyan, I really felt inspired today knowing that the chemistry community in the Philippines is all about unity and like collaboration. It's really inspiring on our community is not based on just like your gender. It's definitely about how we learn from each other talaga. So how about you, Eddie? Did you learn anything today?
Yes, of course. I think like this talk was able to solidify more the foundations and bonds within chemistry. And it does not only inspire like the women in the field of chemistry, but also us men can relate to it since we share naman the common point of chemistry talaga. And in this way, chemistry becomes a platform for everyone to be together, to have a conversation with each other, like Doc Nina said. And I think that's very wonderful. So, I think that is the end of our podcast. Once again, I am Eddie, your number one baddie, na kahit pagod na pagod nang hindi mapapatagi from 1BS Chemistry.
And I am Sen from 1BS.
This has been Ma'am Dan, Doc Giz, Doc Nina, and Doc Anna. Let's give a round of applause for them. And this has been a special podcast, Kababaihan sa Kimika, Igniting the Stories of Women in Chemistry. Thank you!